Recording.
Where, just in the waiting room or something?
See you. Yeah, yes, I see people coming in, flocking in.
See you in a minute, or a second.
Okay.
Coming in. All right, Victor.
I also see Anne here. I had just promoted Anne.
Yeah. And Kyle. Hey, Ann.
Hello. Good to see you. You got promoted. I don't know why. You should have received a panelist email.
It's
No.
okay. You got us now.
All right. And
I got Ann. I got one to my Vomni account.
You know, I went to go check there, but I assumed it was coming to this because we didn't get, everything else came through this.
Yeah, no, it's the panelist one went. I just checked it like just recently, and it did go through there. I just got used to checking it on like you have to go, to a browser and kind of get used to check. I have not gotten used to it yet, but we will, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll add it to my lists.
I think we can add it to our phone as a Vomni account. You know what I mean? Which is easier than signing on a web browser when we want to use it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna have any problems with that. You know, your iPhone or whatever phone you have usually can do that.
so, Mr. Linderoff, you are presiding. I'm just hosting. It's your. I don't.
Well,
see
let Kyle in.
I'm hoping she.
I was just on the phone with her. Hold on, she should be there.
I don't see her.
All right, hold on.
There's only 3 of us here, and I think we need a 4th or not.
No.
Anyway,
Me and Ann are the
last two standing.
the last two standing.
I have a great idea.
Okay, good.
Cannot
It's
wait.
all about ideas.
I had to come up with something. Because it's, no, I think the committee's important.
Oh, I agree. Hey, so we're on now. Victor's got it started. Are you still in a waiting room? I'll tell you what, try to drop out of it and then rejoin.
Or check her.
Try to drop out of whatever is pending and then just try to rejoin. And then what link are you using? One that Sally sent or the one on the website? Okay, you could also try the one on the website on the agenda. That might, and then Victor could probably let you in as a participant.
surely let you.
How are you, Victor?
Okay, good. Let me know. We're here. We're all 3 in now. Okay, thanks, bye.
You're asking
Okay.
me. Good, and I'm
That's good.
glad that we're picking this up because we don't know how long it's going to go, and we just needed to kick off with the virtual. It's the usual. It's the normal now. It's just
Yeah, it is the norm. Kyle I'll be in like a lobby type event tomorrow, and then next week in New York Lobby Day virtually. That's gonna be, it's like the total new norm now.
absolutely.
That's but we'll see in the future. All right, here's Kyle. Hey, she is.
Will we be able to meet in person soon because of the?
I think so.
Yes.
I think so.
Hi all, can you hear me?
Huh? Hey. Hey.
I made it. My video can't work, but
That's all right.
You can see us.
I can see you guys, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So, welcome, Victor. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, and Kyle. Nice to see you. I feel like we haven't met since 2021. Was it December? Was
I know,
our
it's
last
like crazy, right?
It's February already. It is crazy. So I sent around a pretty basic agenda for this meeting, but I suggest we stick to it and then see where we go with other. Here, let me see him for a sec. He can have a cameo. We have a little son here. Did he get a cameo before? He is 8 months old now.
Oh, What a sweetheart.
Maybe he'll join. Hey,
Let me
Luke.
see. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he looks so funny.
Yeah, we do have some similarities.
I can imagine.
His name's Luke.
Hi, Luke. L-U-C or L-U-K-E?
Luke. Yeah, Luke Peterson Linderoth.
Hi.
Yeah, he's doing good. It's bedtime, but mom was just passing by, so I thought I'd say hi. All right, mom, you can take him. He's pretty good. He's used to Zoom meetings, though, until he starts grabbing at my hair and stuff. So we'll stick with the agenda. There you go. Thanks. And Kyle, why don't you start with a staff report? We'd love to hear. I pass by every now and then and have lunch down there. I have a meeting to maybe just drop in and say hi. Why don't you just fill us in? Nothing to, don't feel it has to be super lengthy, but just give us a little update on what you're up to down at the center. And you're muted.
Sorry,
if you
Peter,
can.
I lost you halfway through. I have very bad service. So you're asking for an update?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So it's been like insanely busy, to be honest. I don't know if I did the News 12 thing, which you all saw. Thank
Yeah,
you.
saw that.
And I also really appreciate you coming to the Friends benefit, which was really cool.
Okay, that was nice.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. But right now, yeah, it's crazy. I just painted all the tanks and stuff like that, did the budget.
Oh.
I'm still doing the program. So like today there was 7 people in the program, which is a little above my limit. But I'm doing winter programming because, as you guys know, this is the first winter I've been open. But I keep the cap at 5. I also am preparing for kind of next season. I have Daniel Warren coming down for school trips. I had Mamaroneck High School, as usual, come down for October because I haven't seen you guys in a while. And I've extended so I had 4 camps, like 3 camps last year, 2 outside camps, Mamaroneck camp. And then this year I've already have people asking for camps, which is a lot of work. But I, just preparing for all that kind of stuff. And it's been like really cool. It's been very busy. I did.
Oh, one sec, Kyle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anna had a question for you.
I'm taking notes, just so you know.
Oh, thanks, Anna.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm talking so
I didn't mean to
much.
interrupt. I'm just wanting you to know. The minutes, I got them.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you've been to a couple of the tables that I've been at, which was so nice. Thank you for doing that. But I'm doing a couple of like those, I did City Island event. I did the police event.
Did you make it down to the City Island Oyster Reef event?
Yes, I did. Yes,
Oh,
I had a
good.
table there. Yeah,
They're great partners. I work with Sally and Barbara on
nice.
a lot of
And
initiatives.
I'm also like working with. So I started the Oyster Project. So I'm working with Cornell as well as Stony Point to do the Oyster Project up here.
Excellent.
As well as the DEC because they're very strict on me.
Yes, they are.
But they've been very, very nice with me because I actually am doing more of a study on the MSX, which Peter, you probably know is like the disease the oysters are getting. So they're kind of more intrigued on that study since it hasn't been done since 1997. So that's more of my study I'm doing now for citizen science projects. And yeah, right now I'm just kind of trying to hire more people to help me with the things. Yeah. And summer camp and everything like that.
Yeah. I love that oyster.
I could overflow you with things.
No. I think that was good. I think that was good.
Not in like 18 months. So.
It's been a while. I know it's been a while. That oyster project sounds really interesting. I'd love to hear more about that.
Peter, you would love that. Yeah. And I still want to know about your seaweed, not seaweed, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Kelp.
Seaweed, sure. Yeah, the kelp growth. Yeah, it went okay. Yeah. We had the line off 10 islands and it was a pilot study. We didn't get as much growth as some of the other locations.
Yeah.
But The DEC bioextraction coordinator, actually Long Island Sound Study bioextraction coordinator, thought that might be more related to the spores that we got from the hatchery more than the conditions. So we'll probably do it again. But definitely, if you send me some info on the oyster project, maybe we could help get the word out through Save the Sound.
I would
and
love
kind of
that.
highlight it.
They're actually like really on board, the DEC especially with that, because I said I'm not looking to regrow the oysters. I'm looking to see if they develop the MSX, and they were like so excited about that because it's a very easy in-house test that I could test the oysters in. So a lot of the college students and the high school students, I've made that their project, like you have to measure each oyster, how they're growing, if they're developing it, because it's basically an iodine test. So that's been a fun project. Yeah, that's been a fun. And
Sounds like it.
what's it called?
Sounds like it.
Iona is actually donating a lot of funds to actually giving me the funds to use their lab to test the oysters that I'm growing. So it's a fun little, that's a bigger project I didn't want to get into. Like you guys have said, like I didn't want to get into that project, but I did because everyone kept pressuring me into it. But everyone was, it's a cool project. So
it sounds like it's
really
working out really well for you. It sounds like it's working out well. Yeah,
it's really cool. Yeah.
I was just my initial thing was, and it didn't sound like you weren't. I was just suggesting you definitely coordinate with the state because they're very, like you said many times, DEC is very much wanting to be involved.
I think that was that's my biggest like call is like coordinating with like DEC, the state, and everything like that. So but because I was just doing it, I'm not looking to grow the oysters at this point. This initial license is completely just to see if they develop the MSX, which they were completely on board for. They were like, we've had nobody that has tried to do that. So
I love that. So very good, Kyle. I mean, wow,
very
sounds
cool.
like you're trucking along as usual. So that's great. And I will make a point of
heavier than usual. So I'm like, it's fun though. It's fun.
Yeah. No, that's good. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving the report too. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So next up we have, maybe something brief on the Friends of Marine Education Center. So the nonprofit that formed, it's fully formed and functioning now?
Yeah, so again, 2 of our members moved over to that group. So it's completely a 501c3 right now because we had a state senator do it, which is so cool. We had, and Anne came, she saw, it was a small group for the first fundraiser. And they're just pretty much at this point, and they'll do more like in the future, but it's pretty much at this point to do for the touch tank. That shark touch tank I told you guys about. So that's what they're doing. And they're like kind of awesome about it. They're just, you guys, the committee couldn't do anything about it, but they're, it's Helen, who Peter.
Yeah, of course, Helen Rafferty and June, right?
Yeah. So she was the head of it. She is the head of it, and she's just been like bulldozing through.
That's great. I'm glad the pieces worked out on that one.
Yeah,
that had been discussed.
Really well.
All the way back to when we
Anne
formed originally.
Contest like that. We only had like 30 people, but we made $5,000 for the touch tank, and then the fundraiser they are planning for the spring is more of like an open fundraiser because we weren't sure like how we can do, like they weren't sure like what to do with the fundraiser, and that's going to be decadent, and it's going to be more of
decadent. The beer, you mean the beer? You didn't mean like decadent?
Halftime.
Yeah, I caught that. Could interpret that like decadent party or decadent beer. That's good, or maybe both.
Yeah, and they're just like they're gonna do like a what is their beer? I forget the beer that they are gonna. So anytime you buy this Marine Center beer, they'll put half of it towards the Marine Center, and they're doing a lot to like promote it. So I think we'll have it by the summer. It's just the tank itself is gonna obviously I designed it myself, and it's a little expensive. So it's very custom for the Marine Center itself because it's so small. They're gonna you know, I think we'll make it in the spring. I think we'll make that touch tank.
Good.
But what
good.
I was, before I forget, what I
Yeah.
was thinking, and I know Victor's on the line and he can kind of guide me in this way. We do have a line in the budget for like donations. And I feel like that could kind of be something you guys could guide us in, is like where we use those donations for, because those donations are completely separate. And I don't know if Victor knows how I can use those donations, or we just keep adding them up in order to get a bigger building.
You're muted, Victor.
I don't know if he's here.
I
Is he
don't know
still
if they
here?
have a specific designation. I would, of course, can double check with Augie, with our
Okay.
treasurer, and get back to you better instead of just making it up.
Yeah, good call, Victor. Maybe check if there's
Yeah.
any restrictions on the donations or if they're just
Gotcha.
unrestricted.
Or it's just like we're waiting for a good amount to
Sure.
expand.
That's my guess.
All
The waiting would be kind of up to you or up to us. I mean, but I think I assume they're unrestricted, but let's confirm.
Be
Okay,
good to
yeah.
confirm. Be good to,
And
or
I'll
any
confirm
temporary
tomorrow.
restrictions.
I have to confirm with a lot of stuff, so I'll ask him about it tomorrow, but I just wanted to ask. I
Nice.
felt like that would be a cool thing for all of us to decide on, like what we would do with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time
Love
to
that.
use it.
Yeah, maybe our next meeting, you can let us know. That'd be good.
Okay, cool. That's 2 months. Yeah, gotcha.
Every 2 months, yeah. You could email us in advance, and then we can talk about it at our next meeting.
Sounds good.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
So that brings me to our next agenda item, which is a very important one, because Ann and I were joking as being the last 2 people standing, and we literally are right now on the MECAC. So
Mhm.
I think we need to discuss next steps for the committee, what we want to achieve, what the village, and Kyle, I mean you, and when I bring this up, but what the village is looking for from the committee. We certainly can revisit our kind of charge and the what do you call it, the resolution that formed us, and kind of just as a reminder for what we're here to do. But I think it's going to be important for us to really have some set projects that we work on. We've had a couple ideas that have kind of come up and fizzled out. We had the tent talks, which seemed like a really good, promising idea. And then we had, and I'll let Ann talk about that momentarily, and we had the work that, what was his name? The gentleman from Fordham that was on our committee for a year was really into, with the focus groups and such. But I think what we need as a committee is something to kind of latch onto, something that we can really assign to our committee members that's going to be seen as useful and like really wanted by the village. Because we are a guidance committee, we're an advisory committee, we're not a managing committee in any shape or form. So it's really important that what we're advising on is in my opinion, now after doing this for quite a few years, after we built the building, and there was definitely certain things there where it was like, yeah, that's very direct. We need an architect for this, and someone to help with the tanks, and someone to help with what the building's going to look like. That's what we kind of formed around. But now I think we need some specific items for this committee to really sink their teeth into. And we obviously desperately need, I don't use that word very often, but I think it's pretty true, because if Ann dropped out, it would just be me, or if I dropped out, it would just be Ann. We really need some other committee members. But before we go recruiting other committee members, I think we need to really let people know what they're going to be doing. Very specific projects that the village could be looking for from this committee. And I'll stop. I'd love to hear Ann chime in on that one, and then maybe have some open discussion. So Ann, I saw you had a couple of reactions, so please. Yeah, chime in.
I'm so excited. So first of all, tent talks, it's gonna exist. As you know, y'all, I sit on the committee for Harbor Island Park Conservancy. And we are going to start tent talks through Harbor Island Conservancy.
Good.
I have a meeting this week with Jason, because it's really can grow very quickly. I have a handful and plus of speakers. And if you are,
Ann, not to interrupt you, but why are you going through Jason?
To see if we can use the tent when it's available and how.
Well, they took the tent down. So I know what Jason's gonna say to you. He's gonna say, go through Kyle.
Oh, for the tent? We thought it was the rec department. That's why.
No, so the tent's down. The tents are for camp.
Yeah, I know. But the tents that are constructed on the beach, like they have always, it's just a preliminary meeting. It's to see what needs to be done, when it can be done. That's all that it's about. It's not anything specific.
Okay. But I just want to I know what Jason, and I know Jason very well.
Yeah, of course.
He's gonna say, go through Kyle. I just want to know. I just want you to know that, and I don't care either way. But I just want you to know. He's just very particular because we're completely different departments.
Because also to keep it under with the village and whatnot by time, just for the email alone to get takes weeks and months. So this way we have more able to make quicker decisions and move forward with talks, because it's, as I said, I already have a handful of people, and the bottom line is it'll help within the community. So
yeah, no, and I'm super excited, and I love your ideas. I'm just saying that you're putting Jason as the middleman. You could just go through me and I'll get it done immediately.
Oh, all right. Well,
you don't have to go to Jason.
Yeah. All right.
I'll get the tent. Like the village will let me get the tent immediately as soon as they love this idea. You don't have to go through Jason. You have to go through me. And that's what Jason, so now you're putting Jason as the middleman, and Jason has nothing to do with it.
Thanks, Kyle. And I'd recommend that you just CC Kyle and just let Jason know, and then keep both in the loops.
I just went under the rec department, that's all.
It's okay, that's what we were doing.
No, and I'm not even faulting you on that, because I know a lot of people do that. Honestly, I'm saying that Jason gets mad because he knows it should go through me, and I don't, and it happens to everybody, honestly, and I'm not like yelling, I'm not like getting upset, like I don't care, but I'm saying just go through me and I'll get it done in a second. It's not a big deal.
Which sounds good, Kyle. So we've had we've been talking about doing these for, I think, almost 1.5 years or 2 years. So that's really encouraging for us to hear on a meeting, but I'd really like to see it happen. So
yeah, exactly.
And if you could pick up the conversation with Kyle, and just let Jason, so I would still let him know you're picking up the combo with Kyle.
I just want to
excuse me, Kyle, 1 sec. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then I think we can move it forward from there. But we've been talking about it for a while, and this is great. So this is one thing that could happen outside of the committee meeting.
Right.
Exactly.
Kyle's requesting just loop her in, and let's actually make it happen this summer. Let's do it.
We're going to make it happen.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
So moving forward with regards to stay with this board, I agree 100% with specific committees, but there's two things. One is I have a member I would like to recommend. Just tell me what I need to do. She's a neighbor. She's new in town. She's 2 kids. She's well rooted, and she's very interested in the Marine Center and serving this committee.
Nice.
So that's the one guarantee. But here's what I came up with.
Okay, what is it?
Have a continual committee member, that would sit on the board. We wouldn't have to worry. Why not go to the high school? They have an environmental, that's just one teacher, but I would find out through the guidance counselor who's the one teacher contact. And these people the kids have to do community service. Some students in senior are 18 years old, which what I understand is the requirement. So we have a perpetual, we could fine line it, but a perpetual MHS student. And then all we have to do is tell the guidance counselor, whoever wants to take charge of it there, they love the Marine Center. And it would give a student the opportunity to sit and work with a committee, and it's, an advisory committee. And it's instead of just a one person, they would just have to submit their name prior to the meeting, but it's a perpetual seat at our for this committee.
I don't know, Victor, I see Victor. You muted Victor. I think he might be saying it's an appointment, and I think it's maybe a legal adult type thing.
Yeah.
Go for it, Victor.
Is it 18?
No, I was
Okay.
I was not going
Yeah.
to talk about that. I just was trying to promote somebody wants to join us. Happens to be the county executive. I can't, so I think I should allow him in.
Oh, I think you should let him in.
Absolutely. Just curious, there's one more. Who's, well, at least I'll allow him to speak if he wants or listen to us.
Well, he's got his hand raised very, very respectfully. Hey, George.
Good to see you, or good to hear you, Peter, and let me just see if works here.
Hi, George.
Hi, George.
Thank you, Victor. I appreciate it. Peter, Ann, Kyle, nice to see you all. I know I'm not on the agenda. I wanted to say hello, and more importantly, I just wanted to see if, as you're working on projects for the Education Center, was there anything you thought you needed the county to do that would be helpful to you? Open-ended question. You don't have to answer it right now, but I
Sure.
figure I generally stop in, and Victor knows this, and my colleagues, his colleagues, Nora, and everybody knows. I'll pop in just to see if there is a connection so I can keep it on my agenda if there is. If there isn't, not a problem.
George, I just want to thank you so much. I just want to say I've been weirdly working with the county very closely for the last 4 weeks. I've worked with the county parks with that because a tree fell down and a lot of trash came down on the river. I don't know if you heard about it in Saxon Woods.
Right, I'd heard
So
about it
I
a while
had
back.
yeah, and they were so great with letting me bring volunteers down, and they let me clean it up. But then I also was in a meeting yesterday with Michael, who works at Marshlands Conservancy.
Right. He's a
The
curator.
county parks. Yeah, so I just want to say very awesome employees all around that I've worked with. So they've been doing a lot, and they, are letting me, and I wasn't even asking for their help. I was just like, can I help you guys like get this trash out? And it was after hours. So I just want to say thank you. You have really good employees.
I will scare the hell out of him now because I will let him know that they did a great job, and they wonder how the heck did he know that? I won't out you, Kyle, because generally we hear bad things and we have to respond to bad things as opposed to respond to good things. So very kind of you to share that.
It's so funny because I contacted I think Bill from County Parks Westchester, and he was like, it's so nice to hear somebody ask to help instead of complain. And I said, trust me, I work down in the harbor and all I get is complaints instead of somebody asking to help. And I said, I have hundreds, and it sounds weird for my facility being so small. I said, I have hundreds of volunteers waiting to help. And I said, I'll bring them down. I'll bring 12 at least. And he goes, this is so nice, like to hear somebody wanting to help instead of like complain. And I was like, this is so, I was like the nicest person. And I met Nick, who's like, was hands-on. Everybody was very like willing and worked after hours. So it was just very nice.
Great.
Oh, that is great. And
so I just want to say that, George. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Kyle. And I'll pass it on to the gang. They'll be happily surprised that somebody had something nice to say.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm always ready for like the nice things instead of the negative things.
That's a good outlook to have, Kyle. So I really appreciate you dropping in. I think we can kind of brainstorm on our end on some ideas. Did you have anything in mind up front where you thought the county could support some of the programming or anything?
The county does have, some money available. It's not programmatic, so we're not there saying, here's a pot of dough that exists already. But we're willing to consider any innovative idea that you come up with. And then we have to figure out what's the county nexus or connection. And we'll figure something out. Victor, it's probably good if it comes out of the village board, and the village board sends me a letter ultimately saying we'd like to ask for a grant of X number of dollars to do Y activity. It would really help and enhance and blah, 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 blah. But, as you brainstorm, it's, you probably have a long list of things that you would like to do that you have limited resources to do. And if you can find one of those things that we could help fund, then that becomes a productive use of the visit.
I don't want to interrupt because I know, Peter, you probably have a lot of ideas. I did talk to Michael at the Marshlands Conservancy. He was originally at Edith Reed. And we were talking for about an hour and a half yesterday. We had a big meeting. And he thought it would be cool. And I think this would be great for myself and the county to do like a joint camp program in terms of me going into the marshlands and like, because I was an ornithologist for 4 years as well as I'm a marine biologist. So he brought that up, and I'm just bringing that up because I thought that could be a fun project. Both of us, like joint project we could do together. As
Yeah,
like
we're certainly open to those things. I'm going to be candid with you, Kyle. The two things that you have experience in, I have no idea what exactly
a lot of people
is
don't.
involved in it. So you'll have to. You remember, I'm a politician. You got to chop it up into little pieces so that I
I
can
will chop it up.
digest it.
Yeah.
But I think before I pass it to Peter, you're probably going to dive on it, but I think this opportunity comes at the right time for us as we're rejoining. We're beating every second month, but we do probably need to fill something quickly because we will get back to you with, I think, with something specific.
Okay.
There's very few members now. Why? Because there's a good reason. There's a 501c3 that kind of was set aside precisely to have a little bit of leverage on the projects. So, but I think actually that is a strength. So we now need to have a strategic plan, a very simple strategic plan, not a complex one with a project ready to shovel and with some. So I think we'll get back to you very soon. But I pass it on to the chair.
No, I would agree. I mean, anytime the county executive shows up and makes an offer like that, I think we should just think about it a little bit and send you maybe a list, working with Kyle in the village.
Okay.
And I know ultimately it'll come as a letter, as you mentioned, from the Board of Trustees, but maybe we can get a sense of the appetite from the county for some of the concepts that come out and then make something a little bit more formal after that.
Well, we're certainly happy to entertain whatever you'd like for us to entertain.
Outstanding.
And as Kyle was nice enough to say, I don't purport to know all the nooks and crannies of the things that are beneath me. What I do know, I've represented Mamaroneck for a long, long time. I love the village. I've been there in 1,000 different contexts, as Victor knows. And if we can come up with something specific that's helpful, and you think it's a good idea, the board thinks it's a good idea, we can fund it, I'm all in. So and now that I've bumped you off your agenda, I'll bump out of the agenda, but you can feel free to reach out anytime you guys would like.
Thank you very much. You have a nice evening.
Thank you so much, George.
Okay. Nice to see you all, Victor. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
You're a man of opportunity, and we will, partner with the county to show off this side of the shore better and better. So we'll do something with this. Thank you, George.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you all. Have a nice night. Stay safe, guys. Ladies.
Thank you. You too. You as well. All right. Well, that was great. That's a good pop-in guest. Thank you. Well, that gives us something to work on. Kyle, I think it gives you something ultimately, maybe to start generating a nice, maybe 2-3 item kind of list of some priority projects you think would make sense.
Yeah.
We can advance online email to the point where we need to, if the board, we need to make a decision and take it to the BOT. That will be fine. I don't want to slow things down. On the contrary, many years have been piling with ideas. So this is, he just got a second term.
He did.
The board here will not, will support it entirely. So let's just use this opportunity to.
Let's definitely use the opportunity as a launching point. I think that's great.
Okay.
We can offer some advice. I didn't want to chime in right on the spot, Kyle, because I really would love to see your list primarily first. But they do have a pretty some interesting sustainability initiatives. Peter McCart is kind of their sustainability czar, and it might be interesting to set up some demonstrative, solar panels or other kind of whatever it may be on the building, and use them as an educational kind of tool as well. That'd be a suggestion for me, but I mean, there's probably lots of things. And now we're almost down to 10 minutes in a meeting I thought was going to be early. So I think what we should do is quickly go back to what Ann was saying and answer your question. The person that you're recommending for the board would write a letter of interest. It doesn't need to be a research paper, maybe half page, one pager. expressing their interest. And from what I've caught from Sally, if they could conclude something like a resume or something along those lines, that letter of interest, and the if it's a resume goes to the Board of Trustees. You can have them send it to Sally though first, and she can get it over to Victor and his cohort and the mayor.
Okay, and then so with regards to like a revolving seat,
I like the idea of a revolving seat. I don't know about I think that high school students should be encouraged to attend, and maybe we can set up some form of a like a space where they come in, and I don't know if there'll be like a formal advisory committee nominated member by the Board of Trustees, but I love the idea of having high school members just kind of rotate into the meetings. And I think that's a great experience for them and a really good opportunity for, although Kyle probably talks with most of them already, a good opportunity for us as an advisory committee to hear their opinions. Where I thought you may have been going with that is trying to lock down a teacher. I think having a teacher or two, I think having a teacher or two on the on this committee would be great, just to offer their advice on curriculum, like things that I had hoped I had time to do, but I haven't. But to offer time for like curriculum connections, since that's what they do and that's their.
I'm on it.
That would be great. I think we would that would be a good addition to this committee at this point.
So if they are employed in Mamaroneck, that's fine because they may not live here. So I wasn't so sure. Yeah,
right. Victor, what do you think about that? I mean, I don't live in Mamaroneck, but I do a lot of work in Mamaroneck, and the village was able to make a exception in my case. So how does that work, Victor, for a teacher?
It would have to be a kind of a similar exception, but it has to be kind of a technical exception, not squared residency, but instead, proactively explaining the reason. I don't exactly recall how it was done, but I think we can find a way.
Yeah,
but I'm glad we need more heads and muscle, and I think even the executive's intervention, I think, shows how important this little effort on the sound means, and how hopefully we can do something big this summer where things will probably reopen better. So
yeah, that's very true.
Or the tent, he can be invited. He'll probably show up to one of those TED talks.
He shows up to. He's such. I mean, he should be taking it easy tonight. He's working as usual.
I have speakers who are going to draw a crowd. They're going to have to stop the streets.
Nice.
Okay. A-list speakers lined up.
Super.
Well, I'll tell you, we got about 5 minutes left, and I'm feeling pretty re-energized on the whole thing too. I hope you all are too. So if you could have your contact, send that letter over to Sally.
I will.
And then the Board of Trustees can review it, and hopefully it all works out. I'm sure it will. I saw you shaking your head. Yes, you might know some teachers at the local schools. I think a representation from a teacher would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Victor, can you talk to the Board of Trustees and the mayor about their thoughts on another non-resident? It's a teacher. I mean, I can't imagine teaching in our local schools near the village. So, but see what they say.
I'll do my investigation.
Yeah, maybe you could do it first and before you actually talk to this, just so we don't, like Victor can let us know if they think that's something that's going to work, and then we can talk to the teachers after that.
So Victor, I'll ping you in a week, 2 weeks, so I know, because I don't want to wait till the next meeting and then.
No, I agree.
I'll do it for sure by next week. I have board next week. Yes, just actually bug me. I'll if I don't reach out quickly, I'll put it on my list. Please do.
And you can talk with the rest of the trustees. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, and then I'm happy to. I feel confident that there'll be a teacher that would be interested.
I think so too. And then Kyle, I think if you could generate that list of a few kind of priority type ideas for you, that might be a good starting point for the committee to get involved in some of the work that it sounds like you would directly want anyhow to be happening. So I just want to make sure that this committee is serving a purpose.
I love that idea.
Okay.
So that was my big thing, is seeing where kind of all these donations could go to. So I'll definitely send that to you guys, because we have been generating donations that obviously can't go to the friends. So it's going towards us, and that's a big thing you guys will take care of, is where we think it's best put.
Okay. And I'm talking about County Executive Latimer's offer too, for some places where the county might be able to partner on projects
Oh,
that,
yeah,
that
the
seem like that
county-
camp idea you had, and maybe we
Luckily,
could present like 3 of them.
they've been very on top of like talking to me about things. So I've been
Good.
in contact with the county for about 2 months, especially Bill, not George, which is very cool. But Bill is second in hand, and he's been very helpful, especially with like the cleanup efforts and everything, which is he's the executive like vice.
Yeah,
George.
yeah, I hear you,
Yeah.
Vice George. So what I
So-
heard pretty clearly was that they'd be willing to entertain a proposal from the Marine Education Center for a
which is
project. So
very cool.
I
I'm
recommend
very
we get like
excited about
3
it. Yeah.
solid bullet points, and then maybe circulate them around an email, and we could discuss them a little bit. And then have the Board of Trustees write a formal letter like you requested, saying, you know,
Yeah.
we would like basically X funds to do this from the
Yeah.
Board of Trustees. So let's get moving on that too. Yeah, Ann.
Yeah,
I
for
have one
sure.
more thing. You know, the signs, they're not at any exit. No Marine Center. It's been like that for a year plus.
That's right, Kyle. Remember the signs that like when you
Sure.
come off Fenimore, and that was the one that always caught my eye.
That's not me. I'm sorry to say that. That's the village, and
Yeah, that's
you know,
what I said.
I can't force them to make.
Who could we
put their
advocate to try to get something like that done?
No, and I know like Jerry, especially, he even said, he goes, I don't know why we didn't have the Marine Education Center, but like at this point, I'm trying not to press them on like how much money I'm using. Like I'm just trying to like keep it like where I can like put the money. But he did say that he's gonna put them on the signs. It was gonna take a little time. So that's you guys are talking about the signs that are saying like go to the library or go to that
Well,
Just
Harbor Island.
the simple sign that used to be
Yeah,
at
exactly.
the exit.
Down Mamaroneck Ave.
No,
Yeah.
it was right off the exit, off the, I guess, yeah, there was one on Mamaroneck Ave and there was one on Fenimore when you came off that, and it was Marine Education Center at Harbor Island Park.
Yes,
And it had
so
the beautiful
I'm
logo on it.
redoing those signs, so I had to redo my budget. So yes, those signs are gonna go back up. So those signs will go back up, but the hours changed, so I had to
Okay,
change those.
that would make sense. That'd be a good reason to
Yes.
change them. So good, you got them up maybe by the spring.
I'm thinking you guys were talking about the actual like signs on Mamaroneck Ave that say
Yeah.
like library and stuff.
No,
like
but that would also be a really, I mean,
yeah,
obviously.
that would be very
that
cool.
would be a
But
good addition.
yeah, that's we'll see about that. But
Yeah, Victor.
yes, the
I wouldn't
signs
forget-
off
that's-
of 95, those are going back up. Yeah.
Good, glad to hear it.
Put
Not
those on.
sure.
The other issue is called the wayfinding. The problem with the wayfinding effort was it was too comprehensive. For example, it says clubs and, as you say, library.
Yes.
So certain very iconic things. Those are like in any village, but
Yes.
the ones that are kind of more for this location, like this one, were not included. But it's a matter of
To try
if you-
because
if you
they
know-
had like
but
Beach
he
Boy
knows more
Club,
than
and I was like,
anybody.
you have to be a member.
Right, but precisely, and I was when I saw, anyway, I want to get into topic, but
Yeah.
but with Jerry would be, how much does it cost? And because we're supposed to look at a second phase, and it costs a lot of money. But if he just singles out, if there's a simple solution and it costs X, that's where this connection should come in. You know, there's a request to just hang another little thing, and that costs $5,000. Are we going to put it into this budget or not? We're in budget season. This is the time when, you know, if we don't have the information, we can make the ask or don't, but we can make that decision. So if you have more info, I'll be happy to push it.
All right. Well, it sounds like, Ann, what you were bringing up are the signs off the exits, and it sounds like Kyle has
Just a
plans to
simple
get those up.
sign.
Yeah,
It didn't
get
have
'em up.
hours. It just said Marine Education.
Marine
Center.
Education Center.
That's
So it sounds like Kyle's gonna plan to have those up
Yeah.
in the spring. Sorry, to put them up in the spring, and then Victor,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, great, thank you. And then Victor, in terms of like the other signage, I mean, you know, it's a very unique thing that the village has in place. So, you know, when you talk to the Board of Trustees and Jerry and Kyle's, I'm sure in these discussions too, it would make sense to highlight it some more and draw people down to the park and to the education center.
You know, it would be nice if we just sit and talk and once trustee would go and say this, the other. Some trustees do that. They have the chance to speak about their committees, but our agenda has become so formal and we have a list of things. We're just
Oh, yeah.
getting through it. So it doesn't seem like when you say the board of trustees talk, we have to run through but we can, when I get to talk to Jerry, or if Kyle, exactly what, if this has a solution, we can try to pin it down,
Okay,
just to not let it sit there.
that sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
And it's 7:01, so I won't keep us all late. And thank you so much for doing some recruiting for us. Hopefully we have a new face at our next meeting. Kyle, look forward to seeing your bullets on
I
some
know, yeah.
good projects with the county. That sounds great.
Good.
And we'll pick it up in a couple months, but let's make sure to stay in touch with emails in the meantime.
Okay,
Sounds
and I'll talk to
good.
you soon, Kyle.
Bye, everyone. And
All right,
I'll
bye.
see you. Bye.
Thanks for the report and good to see you.
Very
all.
nice to see everybody. Thanks for hosting, Victor.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye, Ann. Bye,
Bye.
Peter. Muy bien.